Hey everyone, today we're talking about becoming knowledgeable and we're talking all about derivatives. My name is Isaiah Goodman, Chief Financial Advocate at Becoming Financial. So it's right around Halloween. One of the things I've always seen when people want to talk about derivatives and options, things like that, it can get a little bit scary. So we thought it'd be perfect timing to talk about it because in my opinion, in my eyes, derivatives are kind of like costumes. They're just something that it's a facade, it's in front of the actual investments. So today I'll take a little bit of time to talk to you about how does all of this work? What does it mean when you hear stock options or futures, all of these things. So number one, when it comes to the idea or the word derivative, it's because the value is derived from something else. So if you have a stock, let's say company A, and somebody has an option on that stock, the option might be worth more or less depending on how that company is doing. If the company is doing well, more people might want the option, so its value is derived from the company doing well. If the company's not doing so well, that option, depending on what it is, maybe nobody wants it anymore. So the value has lost. The worth in that option has been taken away. So its derivative it's derived from that stock doing well or not, it's gone. So that's how the idea comes from derivatives. Now, what I want to talk about today was what are some of the things, what are the terminology that's out there when it comes to these different types of instruments. I just want to let you know I've got my Series 6, 63, 66, Series 7, registered investment advisor, totally licensed and capable to do this stuff. But day to day, most of my clients aren't talking about this or asking about this. Really where we're coming in, we're talking about budgeting and credit, all the stuff, all the great videos you've seen me do before. A lot of the basics. But I've had a few questions around things like options because some companies are rewarding options in terms of compensation. So I thought it'd be a perfect time around Halloween to talk about it, how these things work. First, I'll go into some of the basics, just really simple basics around things like commodities. So commodities are things like gold, silver, wheat, things that are tradable. You can buy things that are called a future. So if somebody thinks the cost of barley will go up in the future, they'll buy it at a price today that will allow them up until a certain period in time to buy it at the same price. One of the most common practices is airlines. Airlines will purchase futures for gasoline, for jet fuel, purchase it at a set rate. It's a contract that says up until this date in the future, here's what my price is. Now the reason they do that is because, especially for like jet fuel, if you can buy it at today's price, 100, and you think the price is going to go up to 200, you want to buy that out as long as you can in the future to be able to purchase it and have a more affordable rate. So that's big, in terms of your planning, financial planning and forecasting. If you're a business, you're able to purchase commodities and price out your products and services based on that. And then obviously once that contract runs out, you'll have to buy it again and renegotiate. Another terminology related to that world is called a swap. So somebody in interest rates or with loans could actually swap from a fixed interest rate to a variable. So this might be something that's really beneficial if you buy a huge building and you get a variable interest rate, you purchase a swap derivative, and the interest rates are starting to go sky high, your price is starting to climb for your monthly payments, you have that swap that says, I'm going to go to a fixed rate. So again, the option to be able to save a little bit of money. So that's where these ideas are starting to come from, derivatives, options. It's giving you a choice to make some changes. So those are a couple things when it comes to things that are tradable. There's another terminology out there, it's called a forward. Very, very similar to a future. Basically, you're able to buy at a certain price, but they're not changeable or exchanged on a market. So if you purchase a future, maybe you're able to share that with another airline. They buy it from you because you got more than enough. But a forward is not going to be traded on a market. So that's enough about that. Now I wanted to talk about options because that's typically what we hear about, especially with executives. They get these stock options and compensation. If you work at a Fortune 500 company, you might be able to get options. What is it? So what an option is, it allows you to do a certain action at a certain time. So the first one, and very common, is called a put. So a put option allows you to sell a stock or an equity for a certain price if you think that it might go down. So let's say that you have a price or an equity that's priced at $50 and it's going to go down, right? You are able to then say, hey, I'm going to put it down and sell this for 50 bucks. So it's kind of like a gamble or a bet. Whoever's purchasing it on the other side, they're saying, I don't think it's going to go down, and they're going to make money from that contract. So where this option really gets its value is you have to pay for the contract to make the trade. So it's not how much the equity is actually worth that matters. It's the value of the contract to perform the trade. So again, it can get confusing, but say that you have something at $50. You want to be able to put it down and sell it at $50, even when the value goes down to 40, right? Well, you're still going to receive $50. The purchaser who's obligated in that contract has to pay you $50 per share. On the flip side, this might make a little bit more sense. A call option, I like to say call it up, is where you can purchase a stock or an equity at a lower price, even though it might go up. So for example, let's say you want to buy it at $50 per share and the value has gone up to 60. Well, that's an instant profit, right? So you want to be able to buy that at 50. The purchaser on the other side, they didn't think it would go up to 60, so they went into a contract with you. So again, it's kind of like not a gamble, but you're thinking, I think this is going to happen. The other person on the other side of the contract thinks the opposite. So if you have a call, you're able to then purchase those stocks or those equities at $50 per share, even when the value is 60. Thus, you made a profit. But again, the difference is those aren't the actual shares. You have to purchase the shares for 50 per share, right? The option is also purchased. So you kind of have to factor that into your net profit. If you purchase an option for $10 per share and it goes from 50 to 60, and you purchase everything at 50, well, you didn't really actually make any money, right? If you purchase it at $2 per share, then you made $8 per share. So some of the basics, some of the things we'll just kind of tiptoe into, and we'll talk more in the future. But something we wanted to just touch on around Halloween, be able to talk about these derivatives and how they're sort of a disguise or something in front of the actual assets.